And what's cracking, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. How's everyone doing today? How's it going, Core? Avi? We're going to wait for a couple more people to join in. I'm going to try and keep this one as short as possible. So if you guys have any requests in terms of the popular altcoins, we'll be going over some of the altcoin in indices as well, like total 2 to see where, that's at right now. But I'm going to give you my unbiased thoughts on the entire market right now. I did publish a Bitcoin only analysis earlier today. I was going through the comments just now, and I'm like, whoa, those are interesting comments. But yeah, we're going to wait for a couple more people to join in before I just jump the gun, because I am excited, of course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a timer for myself, okay? It's just better. And I'm sure you guys would appreciate that too. How's it going, James? By the way, thank you. I wanted to extend my thanks for always getting to the comment section and leaving a comment. Like, it's always very positive and very encouraging. And so thank you for that. Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, it's Thanksgiving in the US, right? Turkeys. There's always like a Thanksgiving rule. I don't know if it's the same in the States, but in Canada, at the very least, when we're on, it's not just Thanksgiving, even Christmas. And it's going to be the same rule this Christmas as well. Every time the family gets together, there's got to be like a few ground rules, right? One of the key ones is no politics on the table. Just do it. Avoid the conflict. Avoid the tension. $80 ships is just what we needed midweek. And yes, you're right. You're right. We needed this rally midweek. But let's see where this goes. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, everyone is happy with the rallies. But as I had mentioned earlier in today's video from earlier today, I'm being redundant right now. But as I'd mentioned before, we're not completely out of the woods just yet. So we're going to be talking about the critical levels that, of course, we want to see Bitcoin clear out getting into month end, because we're now approaching the month of December. In fact, with that, you know what? Let's get right into the charts. I'm just too excited. I can't help myself here. But yeah, let's get into Bitcoin. 3-4 days now until we get into, well, December 1st. Can you believe it? We're already in December. Like, where the hell did the year go? Where did the year go? It's pretty freaking insane. But yeah, December is here, and the one level that we're all looking at is none other than the monthly 10 simple moving average, currently hovering in at around $100,000. Sean's in here as well. How's it going, Sean? You guys will be hearing from Sean next live stream. He's gonna come in with a whip, guys. No. Bear market. I mean, I don't know. Guys, when it comes to our analysis, Sean could be on one end of the spectrum. I could be on the other end of the spectrum. Like, we're never like on the same page. Seldom are we on the same page. And for the ones that we are on the same page, it's great. It's good. There's no it's good dinner. It's a pleasant dinner conversation. Otherwise, it's very critical dinner conversation. It's like, okay, this is what happens. It's all just a bunch of brainstorming. But yeah, I think we're all at the moment looking at the same level of $100,000 getting into the month of December. And I think it's going to be a very, very important level that Bitcoin reclaims. Why? Because note that we've already lost one of the other key cyclical indicators that we were looking at, which is none other than the biweekly dynamic support, now, by the way, flipped into resistance. We cannot possibly ignore this, okay? Because over this past cycle now, we've been holding that dynamic. It's what sort of led us into the bullish trade to begin with, right? We had various systems that we were looking at, and the biweekly dynamic was actually one of the pivotal ones, all right? This came in, this was back in March of 2023, where Bitcoin actually managed to not reclaim it at the time, but we were sort of trending within that biweekly dynamic cloud until we saw a push up. But it was during that phase of the market that we knew that, okay, the bull run is about to begin. Don't mess this up. And throughout this entire cycle, guys, not one violation of the region of support. So we can't just cherry pick the information and be like, oh, fine, it got supported. Oh, it broke this time? I think this time is different, right? So we're not going to listen to it because it does not fit our biases. So we're just going to ignore the biweekly dynamic and we'll hope for the super cycle. We're not going to play it that way. Okay, I have my thoughts on whether or not I believe the cycle is going to continue, but that's more of a gut feeling, right? Traders will have their systems based on current price action, and then they're going to have their traders' intuition, right? You got to know how to separate the two and understand when the other is taking over. All right. If we are just falling back on our systems right now, the systems are saying, hey, this is currently in bearish territory. We call a spade a spade. We're living underneath the biweekly dynamic support. Okay, so one of those cyclical indicators lost. Next one was the monthly 10 simple moving average. All right, now note that we don't have confirmation underneath the monthly 10 as of now. Okay, in 3 days, in 4 days, we're going to be getting that confirmation. It's 30 days. In 3 days, we're going to be getting the confirmation on whether or not we can close over. Right? So I believe the telltale signs is going to be given to us on, well, the lower time frame trends and volatility ratings. Right now, the lower time frame on Bitcoin actually looks pretty spectacular. We're seeing quite a bit of strength here on the 4-hour time frame. In fact, if we get into the dashboard, now I want you guys to start focusing on the trends here. Earlier today, when I did do the Bitcoin analysis, believe it or not, guys, the only trend that was bullish was the 4-hour trend. 12-hour was still neutral. Daily is still neutral, all right? But I was not expecting that 12-hour to flip. In fact, earlier today, I had like an inclination just based on the volatility profiles. I'm like, we might start seeing a bit of resistance here. We could see a pullback. So I was not expecting the trend to flip the way it did. So now 12-hour, which by the way has been our barometer on Bitcoin, okay, and really helping us assess where's the trend going to be at in, well, the next day or two, right? 12-hour just flipped long. Good signal for the bulls, by the way. Okay. I'm just going to go through the chat. Volatility, however, super duper high. But that's definitely something to watch out for, because every time you see the volatility expansion, right, when it gets super, super frothy, when it gets red, that's when you know that, okay, this is the phase where the bulls might start getting a tad bit exhausted. Right, but you never want to trade this in isolation. Always want to fall back onto price action to see if there is a region of resistance wherein prices could see a stop at, okay, and maybe a minor pullback. And yes, there is resistance. I will be revealing it to you in a second. I'm just going to go through the chat very, very quickly. I clearly didn't start my timer. Good job, Krusha. Okay, Santiago's in here. How's it going? James Webb, what's going on? Okay, always execute on the system, execute on intuition can get you into trouble. Absolutely, right? Because there's no rules set for it, right? And people tend to cherry pick. What happens when you execute based on intuition? And this has happened to me, to give you like a scenario playing out. If a system gets invalidated and I'm supposed to be getting out of the trade, and instead I say, no, this time is different. I'm going to stay in because I believe that this time it's going to bounce. Because this time is different. This time it's going to bounce and it's going to continue. It's going to go to the moon, blah, 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 blah. And instead what happens is prices melt down even further. And oftentimes you'll see that break and you'll see that minor relief rally. And that relief rally gets you really, really excited. But that's all it is. It's a relief rally. And more often than not, that is a point wherein you can actually exit safely. But instead, that gets a lot of the market very excited, looking for higher highs, only for price to get rejected, and then that's another downturn, right? But you don't follow your rules. Now you're sitting in a bleeding trade, okay? Every day, that's taking a bit of your emotional and mental equity. You're like, shoot, I should just followed my system. But now it's still bleeding, and now you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to wait for the next bounce. I'm going to get out on the next bounce. Now you're waiting on the bounce. You're waiting on the bounce, and guess what? That bounce is lower than your previous exit. You're like, no, this is not good enough. Now you're still waiting on the bounce, but no, prices melt down even further. Prices melt down even further. Now suddenly you've lost a significant amount of that position, of that equity that you put up, only because you didn't follow your system. Now prices have melted down to such a point on the chart wherein if you were an objective trader, you should have been a buyer at those prices. But instead, what's happening is that you're sitting with a bleeding position and you're just like, shit, I can't take this anymore. I can't take this anymore. How much lower is it going to go? You're not thinking objectively, right? I can't take this anymore. People sell. They sell on the most critical regions of support only because they didn't follow their rules to begin with. All right? Don't trade based on your trader's intuition. You're going to come up with a myriad of reasons as to why you should be holding if you're trading based on intuition. Right? What is going to always work are going to be your systems, because even in the instance where your system gives you a false signal, okay, because there is a boundary on your system, as soon as that boundary gets reclaimed, you at the very least know that, hey, you know what, maybe I was wrong about being wrong. And that's so much information. It's a boundary. Your system set in a boundary for your trade setups. It gives you so much information that your intuition can never give you. It's too subjective. And I want to really make this point because we're seeing the markets turn. We're seeing a lot of systems get lost, right? So I don't want people making excuses that, no, this time is different. Is it? Is it? Or are you just seeing what you want to see? James Francis says quantitative easing, money printing coming. And that's another thing, right? I want to, okay, I'm going to address that in a second. But Bitcoin right now, 4 hour, 12 hour, 12 hour is our barometer, currently long. Volatility suggestive that we could start seeing the bulls getting a tad bit tired here on the lower timeframes. And also just a quick heads up, since we're on the dashboard, where are my banners? The Black Friday sales, guys, are live, okay? The coupon code is Black Mango. Now, this is Mango's best sale every year, okay? Mango's best sale every year, where, yes, the Mango Seed program, the Mango Sprouts program, the Dynamic, the Lifeline, they're all on sale. But in addition to that, you're getting the dashboard for free with it, okay? So it's going to run alongside your subscription. So if you keep your subscription running, then you get the dashboard running with it as well. All right, so 1 year, you're getting 1 year dashboard. Quarterly subscription, you're getting quarterly dashboard, so on and so forth. All right, so make sure to take advantage of it. It's on my screen, yes, but it's also going to be in the description below. All righty, I'm going to get on over to my chart. Okay, this is it right here. So now the dashboard is literally telling us that, hey, the bulls might start getting a tad bit tired here. So what is it that I'm seeing? Daily time frame, switch on the dynamic resistance now, but switch on your dynamic indicator and you'll see what I am seeing. Okay, now ever since the downtrend began, okay, on this breakdown right here when Bitcoin was at $117,000, every single test of that dynamic is where we saw those rejections come in. Right? The bulls have failed on every instance to actually reclaim it successfully. We had one minor close over there, okay, but only for it to get lost in the next 2 days after that. This too was a rejection. Now, once again, after that massive meltdown, we're seeing the first test of it. All right, so the last time we tested was when Bitcoin was at $107,000. But right now, Bitcoin currently up against dynamic resistance on the daily time frame. Right now, I wouldn't fade this given how well it's done on this most recent downtrend. All right, for those of you who want access to the dynamic levels, please go ahead and take note of them. This is your resistance zone, okay? 95,700 going all the way down to 93,100. If, for whatever reason, Bitcoin clears out this region, yeah, 100K, but it's timed now. It's timed. It's got to happen in 3 days. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Sean, for adding the links in there. If you guys are deciding between the indicators or the programs, guys, Mango Seed program, I am student zero of the seed program. I cannot recommend it enough. Okay, in fact, I say check out the testimonials. Like, these are glowing reviews. You don't want to hear it from me, hear it from all of these people, right? One, better get into the Discord chat. The seedlings are all there. You can ask them how they like the program so far to even figure out if it's a good fit for you. But this has changed a lot of lives, like a lot of lives, right? Samson says, I doubt there's any other TA courses out there that beats yours, Sean. And it's true. There's nothing else out there like the Mango Seed program. It's going to set you up for the crypto market, but more importantly, for every other market to come. All right, so if you're deciding between the two, seed or the indicators, pick the program, pick seed. But I want to take this time to address James Francis. Quantitative easing, money printing coming. I want to ask you guys a question. Just how many people out there are talking about the exact same thing right now? QE and money printing. And I feel like everyone's trying to call it now. At least that's my take on it. It's like, you know, in the prior cycles, no one was looking at QE or QT. No one was even looking at the interest rates, right? It's only now, over the past, say, maybe over this cycle, I think, let's be fair, this cycle and maybe even not even the previous bear market, okay? If we were looking at the previous bear market, everyone should have been able to call that top, okay? Because the Fed literally came out and said that, listen, we're going to be drawing back on the QE. They came out, and it was that month where they said that the market halted, Bitcoin topped off, right? So back then, even during the bear market, no one was looking at Fed speak. No one was following the macro aspect of things. It's only now that everyone's talking about QE, everyone's talking about interest rates, right? So when everyone's on it, when everyone knows what's happening, when everyone's looking at it, I'm saying that most of it is priced in. Tell me if you guys think otherwise. Now, I'm not saying this could not be a massive liquidity push. I'm just saying that news piece has sort of been priced in. Right? Which is why I say fall back onto what Sean has been telling you guys. Don't trade the macro. It can get too subjective. There could be other things happening in the background that you cannot possibly know about, right? What is going to always show what's happening on the behind the scenes will always show on the chart because the insiders are moving before, right? That is going to be reflected on the chart. The chart is going to tell you exactly what's happening behind the scenes. You don't have to guess. It's everyone's talking about it. Like, everyone's talking about it. Things that everyone's talking about, because this is another thing that I mentioned earlier today. Markets tend to move on information asymmetry, not on information that's printed out on the newspapers and that's on every single channel and just displayed on various bar charts for everybody to see. It's always the information asymmetry that gets the markets moving, right? Until there's a news drop, and that's when, okay, it's done. The rally's done. It's the whole phrase of buy the rumor, sell the news. These are not rumors anymore. This is like freaking front page news, right? So we're not going to time all of this stuff, okay? So I'm going to give you, as far as the TA is concerned, I'm going to give you my objective view here, okay? Keep it simple. Keep it freaking simple as hell. On the daily, if we clear this out in the next day or two, okay, something happens here. Bitcoin says, you know what? Screw this region of resistance. I'm going to the moon. I'm going to 100K, all right? If Bitcoin does this in the next 3 days and manages to close over $100,202, aka the monthly 10 simple moving average, I'm saying, listen, the ball is in the bullish court for the month of December. Keep it that simple. On the flip side, let me go ahead and put in $100,000 right here. Actually, no, let's just get on over to the monthly time frame. There we go. Oh, wow. I literally just smacked the line there without even looking, but turns out I smacked it right on the monthly 10 simple moving average. Okay, cool. In the next 3 days, if the monthly 10 simple moving average fails to close, if price fails to close over the monthly 10, I believe the next region of contention is going to come back at $80,000. We call a spade a spade. We follow the system here. Right now, biweekly broken. Okay, biweekly is done. We're going to be testing that monthly now. The monthly gets put to the test. And like the biweekly, the monthly, it was the same story. It's what got us into the bullish trade, right? We don't cherry pick the information here, guys. We take it for what it's giving us. Over the past cycles now, the monthly 10 simple moving average has called every single bear market. Every single bear market. Do you really want to fight that? It called the bull market this time around as well. Sorry, that was the bull market. Okay, this was the COVID phase right here. Right? Yes, there are going to be a couple of violations, but if you even follow the violations and that say it breaks above the 10 SMA, you get bullish, right? But then it breaks below, you get bearish. Keep it as simple as that. Even if you follow that aspect of it, you're still on the safe side of the majority of the trend. Right? So mark that bear market right there. That was the COVID crash. It marked the previous bear market, which is when Bitcoin broke it at around $48,000. Now think about it. Yes, I understand the market topped off at very, very, very close to $70,000, but it only broke at $48,000. Right? And you're like, shoot, it was at 70. Should I wait on the pump? No. You're not in the business of catching the bottoms or the tops. You're in the business of making money. Okay, you want to catch the meat of the move. Because now, when prices dump to $15,000, the people who sold at $48,000 are now looking like freaking geniuses. We don't fade the systems here. Okay, follow the systems to the T. Right now, yes, you're right. There's no close underneath the monthly 10 SMA, which is why we're going to be waiting on that close. We're going to be waiting on that close. $100,202. In the instance that we fail to close over, I'm saying that the next likely move is going to be a test. Maybe test. I'm not sure if it's going to get all the way up to the monthly 10, but it's going to be basically a minor bounce, maybe daily 10 SMA. Actually, I have a level. For that. I'll reveal it in a second. But we could see something like this, but only for prices to retrace back down to $80,000. On the break of $80,000, if we break 80K, okay, there's a big if. You always got to take levels one level at a time. You don't go jumping the gun and calling, oh, Bitcoin is going to drop all the way back down to $30,000. Where are you getting this from? Where are you getting this from? Are you going to play it? Are you going to wait for $30,000? That's a shitty way to play it. What if it bounces? What if you sell and it freaking bounces before 30? Take the levels one step at a time. Okay. Getting down to 80, we break $80,000 only on the break. Will I say that, okay, prices now come all the way down? The next likely target to the downside, the next high probability target to the downside is $60,000. Right? We're assessing now. What I've done here is that I've looked at price action through the cycle. I'm looking at the momentum on the chart. And based on the prevailing momentum, am I seeing these levels play out? Okay, so after 80K, the next plausible level is going to be a $60,000 retracement down. All right, but one at a time. If this, then that. Harsha, don't spam, man. Don't spam. Okay, which brings me to my next point of Sackar scene. People have gotten fed up with constant dumps this cycle. People don't want to gamble with their money. People don't want to gamble. Okay, wait, my chat is moving. People don't want to gamble with their money. They want to invest it. And so far, the stock market is making people more money than crypto. Yeah, you're right. The stock market has been, and that's the thing, right? It's what's happened this cycle is that, and this is something that I brought up in the previous live stream as well, but there's like a risk curve. All right, let's go ahead and just draw it out very quickly. You get a risk curve, right? Now you're assessing the risk of every asset. You have like your fixed income, which is pretty much your risk-free rate, wherein you put it in the bank and you're getting a certain yield for the money that you have in the bank, and then which is risk-free. It's sort of guaranteed to you, right? So that'll be like far on the left, right? And then you have your stocks, which will be maybe here, right center, right? Then and maybe somewhere here you'll have your indices, like you'll have SPY and NASDAQ, which is a cumulative representation of some of the best companies in these various sectors, right? Then past the stocks, you'll have Bitcoin somewhere here, okay? I'm not going to add gold and silver and stuff to the list this time around, but just to give you a brief set of understanding, right? Then you'll have Bitcoin here. And this is like least risky, okay, to super risky. All right. And then you'll have the altcoins, which are like freaking here. Much of it is vaporware. I think we can all agree on that. Okay, let's not fool ourselves. Much of it is complete vaporware. Over the past, we've had some of the most elevated interest rates since the 70s. Okay, we have not had such a tight monetary situation since the 70s. Okay, people are not feeling too rich here. Okay, we just sort of emerged out of the ZERP era and just thrown into these high risk environments. People don't have money to spend on the super risky assets like altcoins, which is why we barely saw them run this time. And I get it. For those of you wondering, Krisha, you know what? The interest rates have been dropping, right? The Fed has been decreasing interest rates. But yeah, that's the Fed. Walk into the bank. Go ahead. Pick the nearest bank. Walk into your nearest bank, especially if you're in North America, if you're in Canada, if you're in the States, where we actually saw these environments of zero interest, right? Walk into the bank right now and ask them for a loan. You'll be surprised with how much they quote you. Those interest rates have not dropped. Okay, the banks are not okay just lending. They're not in that situation just yet. And if the banks are not okay lending freely as they were previously during COVID, we're going to be in this environment where liquidity is going to be constrained. So those high risk assets don't go up that fast as we saw previously. So you got to look at the money flow, right? How much money do people have to actually go far out the risk curve? Are they even going to be rewarded for that? I like how Eliza's like, bro, chill. Exactly, bro, chill. But yeah, these are some of the levels that I'm looking at, but I didn't get to the point. Going back to your point, Sakar. Now this is the TA, right? I want to give you my thoughts on my intuition. My TA is different. I am following my TA, by the way. Okay, I'm not following my intuition right here. I have to make that very, very clear. I am following my TA. My intuition is telling me that, okay, even if we do break the monthly 10, now Sean's in the chat. Sean, this goes back to your point. Even if we break the monthly 10, the volatility that we've had this cycle has been in a very, very linear fashion, right? Through the bull markets. Let me see if I can pull up that chart. Actually, I'm just going to mark it out for you for a bit more effect, okay? Just to drive this through. I'm going to clear out my chart. Cool. Levels that I don't need right now. I'm going to clear that out, that out, that out. Okay, cool. Okay, throughout the cycles. Let's begin from here, 2015. Linear phase. Come on, Krisha. Exponential phase. Linear phase. Exponential phase. Even in that first cycle, in fact. Linear phase. Exponential phase. This cycle, linear phase. exponential, where are you at? So what's the point I'm trying to make here? Is that this is something that Sean had mentioned to me over dinner a couple of nights ago. He says, this cycle, we have not seen that volatility expansion as we did in the previous cycles. Man, it's getting cold. In the previous cycles, right? We didn't see that volatility expansion. And when volatility expands, volatility doesn't pick a direction. It doesn't pick up or down. It's just volatility. It's a degree almost. So, and this is something that I've said before in some of my previous analysis from years ago. The same volatility that you see to the upside is the same kind of volatility that you can expect to the downside as well, right? And that kind of exponential volatility, okay, on those prior two cycles also lent to the bear market drawdowns. Remember, the same volatility that you see to the upside is the same volatility that you can expect to the downside. And it's crazy, if you notice. I just noticed this. But it's on that point where volatility really, really started expanding and getting to this exponential fashion that when the bear market began, that's where the bear market sort of bottomed out at. Notice that? You can draw like a parallel there. I know it's my chart is getting untidy, but you see what I mean. So the point I'm trying to make here is that based on what Sean had mentioned over dinner, because we failed to see that volatility expansion as we did in the prior cycles, my intuition here is telling me that the drawdown that we see on Bitcoin, if we do get the drawdown, if we fail to close over the 10 SMA, the drawdown that we see is not, I don't think that 80% drawdown that is so characteristic of bear markets is going to play out this time. So yeah, that's the intuition part, right? So while everyone's going to be looking for the 80% drawdown, based on what we've seen throughout this entire cycle, I don't think we're going to get that. And that's going to throw people off. They're going to play for the 80% drawdown and they're not going to get it. And it's going to happen like it's all going to unfold really, really fast. But yeah, this right here is Bitcoin. I want you guys to focus on the monthly 10 SMA 3 days, guys. You're only waiting 3 days. We can all have a bit of patience on there, right? The monthly 10 SMA, and we have the two levels. Where's my levels? That's not it. That's not it. That's it. These are my bear market targets. There goes my timer. Bad timing, Krisha. Okay, with that, I think we can get into XRP. Actually, no, I want to go over one more indicator, which is that's silver, Bitcoin versus gold. We're looking at that monthly dynamic support, which, by the way, we've lost. So that is the current update on there. And every time we've lost the monthly dynamic on this pairing, that's marked sort of bear market territory for Bitcoin. Every single time. There's been not one instance where we've lost the dynamic support, only for prices to have then rallied. So this was one of the other points that I wanted to bring to your attention. So I'm just going to be going over anytime I see a good system that's sort of triggered or untriggered, I'll be bringing that up. So Bitcoin versus gold, this has broken down. That's something to note. Let's go over XRP. By the way, guys, you guys can find the dashboard on app.mangoresearch.co. Take advantage of the Black Friday sale because you're literally given the dashboard for free with your subscriptions. Okay. But the way it's going to happen is that just sign up. For those of you who sign up for any of the courses or the indicators, make sure just signing up for an account on the dashboard and I'll get your account set up. But sign up for the account. Okay, so just create an account and I'll get your account set up. But right now, XRP on the dashboard, looking very interesting here. 4 hour is long. Check out the volatility at 10. 10 is low, telling me, okay, the bulls actually have quite a bit of juice here. They've got juice to take this up, okay? And XRP2 is sitting at a very, very critical spot. The first thing I want us all to appreciate on XRP is that that $2 mark is holding as support right now, and it has been holding since November of last year, since we had that 400, 500% rally to the upside. And that is a very, very critical point for the XRP bulls. Why? Because in the prior two bull markets, that's where the bull run got rejected off of. There was a massive rejection there in the bull run of 2017, as well as in that bull run of 2021. Prices failed to close over $2. This is the first cycle ever that XRP has managed not only reclaim it, but also hold it as support. Look at this. Look at this. Right? And this is the confusing part about XRP right now. And this is what's also getting me really, really nervous. As someone who's let go of 60% of her position, okay, often as a bear, what do you want to see? When you're selling your position, you want to see some validation, right? You want to feel good about selling. And what is the validation here for a bear on any asset? A validation for a bear is continuation to the downside, right? That's what you'd ideally want to see. If not continuation, show me some weakness here. Tell me I'm right. This is what XRP is doing. Just like bounced. Like, you could be right, you could be wrong. We'll find out in the next episode of XRP is gonna screw your happiness. Eliza says, I love the mango view as well. Much more simplified compared to the 5 million indicator options in TradingView. It is really good. For those of you who do not know what Eliza's talking about, if you get into Mango View, by the way, you can, I should have just, let me get back on over to the actual dashboard. Okay, you can actually get into the chart by, I don't know if you noticed, there's a chart button on here, right? So XRP, and you can see like the little chart button, the bar chart, just click on it and it takes you to the XRP chart. But what's really cool here is that you guys can toggle on your FVGs. I'm not sure if you noticed that, Eliza, but just toggle on your FVGs and you get the FVGs just drawn out for you automatically. I've noticed that a lot of you guys have been taking a lot of interest in the FVGs, and they're very, very powerful. They're like these pockets of liquidity, and price often gets pulled into them, right? So when we tap, when we sort of break into an FVG, you'll often see price get pulled to the top as a magnet, depending on if it's a bullish FVG or a bearish FVG. But it gives you some really, really good, neat swings. Right, so you can actually toggle on your FVGs, bearish as well as bullish FVGs. Okay, so yeah, use them. You got your swing highs and swing lows. Some people struggle with this. Marks that out for you as well. 21 and 55 exponential moving averages. Your 10 and 200 simple moving. But more importantly, the Ichimoku cloud as well. Oh no! There we go. Oh yeah, and you get the 4-day time frame, which is not on the not on TradingView if you have a free account. So for those of you who do have free accounts on TradingView, but you can, and we often bring up the 4-day time frame, you can sort of find it here on the dashboard for free. So yeah, check it out. But getting back to XRP, XRP, like I said, right now, here's the situation with XRP. Rock and a hard place, okay? $2 is support, right? But we also have resistance right overhead. So this is literally like a no-trade zone right now. It's a very, very minor zone for scalpers if you're one of those guys. Okay, this is the zone. I mean, it's not that minor. I believe it's a 10% zone. But this is it. Okay, so here's the deal. If XRP starts breaking past the zone here, okay, biweekly dynamic resistance, 229 going all the way down to 219. Take note of it if you need, if you want those numbers. If we start breaking up past it, I'm saying, okay, there's a good chance of an XRP bull market resurrection. There have been zero violations on the biweekly dynamic support. Okay, this is the first time, which is why I'm like, okay, you can't help but turn bearish. This is also one of our critical regions that we've been looking at to help us, stick with the trend. So if we start taking out this level, I'm saying, okay, bull is back in the bullish court. On the flip side, however, if XRP starts losing the $2 mark to the downside, that's when we can expect lower prices. All right. That's when the bears take over in earnest, because $2, guys, was a battle zone for XRP. Right? The bulls and the bears fought on every single cycle thus far. It is not to be ignored and taken lightly. Zinni says, hi, Krisha, one question. If Bitcoin lost the monthly 10 SMA, but XRP closes above its monthly 10 SMA, what would you do? That's a good point. Okay, so now let's now we have the two zones marked out, right? Let's actually go ahead and pull up the monthly 10 SMA for XRP. Now notice the monthly 10 SMA, Zinni, is above the biweekly dynamic as well, right? Almost in line right here. And I believe that lines up with 241. Okay, 241. I wonder if that is, sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just going through a few things. Okay. So if Bitcoin loses the monthly 10 SMA, but XRP closes over the monthly 10 SMA, what then? If you are trading XRP, okay, you got to take the TA for what it's giving you. Play the TA on the XRP chart. Don't let Bitcoin skew how you would act on XRP, right? What it should do for you, Bitcoin losing the monthly 10 SMA should at the very least help you understand whether or not you should be approaching trades with caution. If you're looking to take profits, if you're looking to play the quick swings, it'll tell you where the market is at right now. It'll give you a feel of that, right? Of the macro view of the market. But don't let that guide your immediate trade decisions on XRP. If XRP reclaims that monthly 10 simple moving average on this monthly close, that's a bullish tilt. You play that information. You play that information. Because let me tell you something, over the past bull markets, on the bull market tops, Bitcoin has often tapered off. It's just gone into these ranges of consolidation, while the altcoins freaking ripped every single cycle, 2017 as well as 2021. It was the altcoins, while Bitcoin was putting in, it was sort of staggering. The gains on Bitcoin were not as crazy as they were on the altcoins. You play the altcoins, you play the T on the altcoins because you managed to score way more. Okay, you don't let what Bitcoin's doing affect how you trade the altcoins based on their TA. Let it help guide you on your macro view on where the market is heading in the midterm, maybe in the next quarter or so, end of the quarter, next quarter, but don't let it guide your immediate trade decisions. XRP closing over 241 come month end is going to be a very strong picture. At that point, I am nervous as hell. Okay, at that point, I'm like, shoot, what should I do? Okay, I'm not that bad, but you know what I mean. I'm just putting myself in other people's shoes that actually managed to sell most or all of their XRP position. But 241 marked this level. XRP closes over the monthly 10 SMA. My goodness. You can imagine what this chart will look like. Think of the wick on this candle. How could you not be freaking bullish at that point if we get that close? Not the portable toilet analogy. We're gonna leave that for Sean. portable potties at the Justin Timberlake concert. But yeah, this is the scoop on XRP. Any questions here? Hopefully Bitcoin 102,000 with my turkey and stuffing. Oh, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But if it doesn't, prepare for that too. We at least have targets now to the downside. I feel like the market right now is skewed on either sides of the spectrum. It's either really, really bullish or it's either really, really bearish. There's no middle ground right now. Let's talk about gold. There were conversations going on the Mango Grove today about gold. And also, before I get into the gold chart, quick heads up. BitUnix bonuses, guys. For those of you actively trading right now, don't fade these things. They don't come too often. So when they do, take advantage of them, okay? These are deposit bonuses. Right now, this is a very, very cool campaign wherein if you make a deposit, you have all the deposit amounts right here, 500, 1,000, 2,000, up to $2,000. They're giving you 20% back free for you to trade with. Okay, so take advantage of that. Because what this is going to help with, a lot of times I notice a lot of new traders, they're working really, really hard. They're building these systems, but they want to build conviction in them. To build conviction in your systems and even your trade execution, you need to put on the trade. But what happens is that people often, they get scared of losing money. I get that. I've been in your shoes before, right? So what this is going to do for you now, it's going to help you put on that trade wherein if it loses, you're not losing your money first, you're going to be losing the house's money. So make sure to take advantage of this. I will be linking this in the description below. So for $500, they're giving you 100 USDT as a free trading bonus. For $1,000, you get $200. But here's the thing. You make the deposit, you put on your first trade. No, the size does not matter. It could be a freaking $10 position, and you get the bonus. So deposit, trade once, bonus is yours. But now, coming back to gold, let's actually look at it on the dashboard as well. Toggle into TradFi. Okay, nice. There's a gold ETF on here. Will do. Okay, long on the weekly. Volatility super high. This was daily, was short previously, now flipped neutral, telling us that, okay, the lower time frames are picking up some bullish momentum right there. But now if we get into the chart, this is Bitcoin versus gold. Here's what I want to see. Okay, I was looking at the monthly time frame here. Let's be honest. This looks fantastic. Fantastic on gold. But now I saw someone draw out a symmetrical triangle today. That's a steep symmetrical triangle. And there's one thing I don't like as a pattern trader are steep slopes. My goodness. Think of what it's telling you. Okay, what does a steep slope mean right here? What this is telling you, if you're really breaking it down between buyers and sellers, it's literally telling you that the sellers stepped in significantly earlier, way earlier than before. They were eager to sell on that level. Okay, which is why and reverse it for the bottom diagonal, okay? Which means buyers stepped in earlier, giving us more of a bullish tilt. When sellers step in earlier, it gives it more of a bearish tilt. So what I want to see here, okay, for the gold bugs is I'm keeping this simple, okay? If you want to see gold show some real strength on this consolidation, this pick me up that it's seeing, take out this wick high. Very simple. Can it do it? I think it can. It's got some really, really good bullish momentum. Even the dashboard is telling us that, okay, the bulls actually have a lot more juice left in them. But taking out that wick high right there at 4.2K, 4,244 is going to set the tone for another rally. At which point it could actually, draw down. That's fine. Go back up like that. That's cool. As long as it takes out this wick. Want to start seeing some strength there. I don't like the fact that the sellers stepped in that early. And one thing that's given me a bit more confidence in that this could continue is number one, now this is completely subjective, more on the social cue than anything else. But notice a lot of people are trying to call the top on gold. Everyone's like, okay, gold is going to top here. It's going to top here. It's going to top now. It's going to top tomorrow. It's going to top day after. No, don't call tops. It's a sucker's game. Calling tops, calling bottoms, complete sucker's game. Okay, and if we look at silver, and if silver is anything to go by, I think it can, we can actually see these pick me ups. Like silver actually did really, really well on its second peak high there, right? Look at that. The sellers met them at the bid, right? Like they were not willing to sell any lower than that previous high right there, which is good news. And now we're going back up once again. This is putting in a massive, massive bullish formation, none other than a massive cup and handle. Okay, on the break of that high, $54, that's a trigger. Line up, guys. You are the next rug pull. What do you mean? Who's pulling the rug on who? At Mango, we trade safely and stress-free, and all our positions are risk managed. There's no point in getting in here wanting to trade these markets without any risk management. All you do is end up losing. You're better off just going to the casino at that point. Risk management is what keeps you in the game. Okay, remember that. Don't mess this up, guys. Right? The ways in which you can mess this up is number one, lots of leverage. Crypto, by trading crypto, you are already de facto leverage. Okay, these markets are volatile as it is, right? Pull back on the leverage. Okay, another way in which you can mess this up is by not following your systems, not following your invalidations, not buying when you're supposed to be buying and not selling when you're supposed to be selling. Risk manage your positions, guys, okay? And freaking pull the throttle back on the leverage. You don't need leverage right now. And in fact, by the way, for the way the market is structured right now, if you guys are playing long positions with leverage, right now, many of the charts on crypto are not telling you that we're in that trend trading environment for you to be trading leverage at this point. You better be very, very well versed in trading leverage if you are looking to place those longs, leverage longs right now. Okay, there is literally very few charts out there, if even, that are signaling a bullish trend trade. Okay, remember, you got your quick swings, you got your trends. Right now, nothing is signaling a bullish trend trade. One Trump tweet will bury all of your chart analysis. Yeah, maybe for a day. We don't trade like that. Let's face it, okay? People, even this most recent liquidation that we saw, maybe not on Bitcoin, but the altcoins especially, okay? There was always an event somewhere on these cycles. There was always a freaking event on some cycle somewhere. There was an event. Every cycle there is an event. When you look back at price action and you're trying to build your systems and you're trying to figure out if a certain thing worked or certain thing did not work, you're not looking back at a price point saying that, oh, that there, Elon tweeted right there, that's why that happened. That there, that's when this person said this, and that's why that happened. Nobody cares. We're not looking at the historic price action with those events in mind. There may be one-day blips, but ultimately what happens is that they all get sort of folded within your systems, right? TA wins ultimately. It will always win out. Price action is the best signal on any asset that you're trading, be it crypto, be it TradFi, be it Bullion, doesn't matter. Is altcoin season still in play? Right now, no. Our altcoin system went off, right? Total 2. Total 2 is what we were looking at. We were looking at Total 2 to take out the highs. We did briefly, okay, until we lost it on that month close of October. October close, we actually lost that Total 2 high, and that's when we made our way all the way down. Like, this is what I mean, right? It can be that simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Right? So it went off right here. So once again, I'm keeping this the same thing. I'm not changing this on you guys. I'm looking for Total 2 to break out of its previous all-time highs, and I am looking for Bitcoin dominance to be in a downtrend. James Francis says, melt up coming. I hope you're right. But we played the TA, guys. We played the TA. What else do we want to look at before we wrap up? We looked at Bitcoin, we looked at XRP, we looked at gold, we looked at silver. I'll take one more request. Man, my stomach is just growling right now. I went into IF mode without intending to do so today. James Francis says rug pull already happened 10th October exactly. Ada, where's Harshit now? I saw your comment, Harshit. You can go cherry picking the information. Okay, I don't want any of you guys cherry picking the information. You guys asked me to cover certain altcoins. I'm going to cover certain altcoins, and I could be bullish based on the information that I'm seeing in front of me. But I'm also always going to give you guys invalidations to my bullish thesis. Okay, you cannot go cherry picking, be like, oh, Krisha's bullish because she said XYZ, and completely like, it's like, y'all don't, he didn't listen to the invalidation. Don't do that. Okay, I'm giving you invalidations that way you could also be safe. Right? For ADA, so I believe something happened with Cardano, right? Someone managed to like basically copy the whole blockchain. What happened there? Does someone know? They hacked something? Cardano went through a hack recently? What's going on there? Do any of you guys have some information for me on this? But this right here is bearish. Make no mistake. Yeah, I can draw a trend line for you and make you happy for a second, but also it should be noted that I absolutely hate trend lines. I really do. I hate them with a passion, right? Because they're so subjective. Like I could draw it like this, but then I could also take that wick into account and draw it like this. Okay, and one guy's like, no, it's like this. Like it just doesn't stop. Okay, screw the trend line. For ADA, we were keeping it very, very simple. Weekly dynamic. You know, I got really bullish when ADA actually took it out right here at 80 cents. I'm like, man, this is looking so good. And it was. It was. We held it, but instead of seeing continuation, we put in a bearish head and shoulders pattern, broke that weekly dynamic, which was supposed to be your invalidation, and then spiraled all the way down. Right? Now, this was the entire liquidation event that much of crypto went through. Okay, but even on the pick me up, so Cardano did see a pick me up right here, but only for the next few weekly candles to have gotten rejected off of that weekly dynamic. And you can see it's clearly holding it as resistance, right? And that's it. That's your signal. That's another spiral down, right? So right now, ADA, is bearish, make no mistake. As far as supports are concerned, where could we see the next major region of support? It's a zone. 31 cents going down to 23 cents. That's your zone. Could we see a rally on the diagonal? Maybe. But like I said, I don't like diagonals. I'd rather just be playing the support regions. There is minor support right here as well, though. 41 cents. No, James, I agree. I think ADA looks absolutely horrible. And I don't agree with the trend lines either, which is why I'm saying play the supports instead. Okay, I think we can all agree. I think this is like, you can see it in plain sight. A zone of support right here. This is what, 32 down to 23. And I believe that we also did have some pretty decent support right here. Okay, this was a region of contention. We had October, right? The breakdown, we saw a flush. We got back up to April, right? We saw rejections off of this region, multiple monthly rejections, by the way. Okay, even on this break right here of June 2024, we got a flush down once again. And so I'll be looking at that as a region of contention at 42 cents. So you'd likely, ideally want to see it hold here. If we don't hold, then I'm saying we're coming back down. we're on TradFi. Okay, we are at the 1 hour mark. I should end this. Yeah, ADA on the 4 hour is currently long. Volatility reading at 44. So the bulls might still have a tad bit more juice to pick this up, but ultimately what we want to see is a cascade of trends here, right? And I want you guys, by the way, to start using the dashboard to help you figure out if the trend could actually see a pickup right here, or would it be suggestive that the bulls might be getting tired, right? So look at your trend profile, look at your volatility readings, because oftentimes it's where I struggle. And I'm like, damn, how do I find out? Well, the dashboard is going to help you with that. Right, and it's also going to help you with filtering out the coins worth looking at. There's just too much out there. Okay, you're going to get stuck into analysis paralysis, decision fatigue, and you're just not going to know where to look, and that's how you miss out on opportunities. It caused the chain to fork and split into two. The chain self-healed after the bug was fixed. Oh, see, you see what I mean, right? There's freaking drama. There's drama right there with ADA. Something happened there. And that's enough. Like, it's already really bearish, right? And that's enough to really spook the market out on top of what's happening. We got issues, says XRP hype. It worn out the community at the moment. All the hype has destroyed the XRP community. Ripple doesn't deserve the XRP community. I partly agree with you, yes. You know, one thing about the XRP community, they've been freaking resilient. You know, people can say that Cardano's community was strong, but I don't think Cardano's community was anywhere nearly as strong as XRP's community, considering XRP's community sat through some crazy freaking FUD even in the last cycle. While many of the altcoins went in to put in all-time highs, XRP got back to its previous all-time high, got rejected, and then started another freaking fresh bear market. And that community stayed resilient. They stayed resilient. XRP is almost like a cult at this point. I mean, it's great. Okay, I'll be honest with you. There's a bit of a longevity factor right here, right? After all the FUD, it's one thing if the FUD really if nothing panned out for XRP and the company actually went bust, but it didn't. Right? Much of the FUD around XRP got sorted out. We got an ETF drop a couple of days ago. Sean, I believe, is pulling the plug on me. ETF drop a couple of days ago. I believe that XRP is at this point now that it's going to last. It's going to be here the next cycle as well, and perhaps even the next one. What price point is it going to be? I can't tell you that. But I believe it's past this point of FUD, okay? And it's more so gotten acceptance in a much wider, stronger realm. And there's something to be said about that. Not a lot of coins can boast about that right now. XRP is one that can. And I was telling Sean, I'm like, you know, these $23 targets that I have, I'm keeping it. They're not moving anywhere. They're based on a freaking symmetrical triangle breakout. And even to break that to invalidate the symmetrical triangle, XRP's got to drop to freaking 34 cents. But if not this cycle, XRP could rally to some crazy targets in the next cycle, right? When it comes to higher targets, you guys need to understand macro targets. Your holding time goes up. I'm going to come out here, give you macro targets. That doesn't mean it's going to play out in a fortnight. It's not going to play out in a week. It's not going to play out in a month. These are cyclical targets, right? The higher the target, your holding time goes up. In the middle, you could see freaking crazy freaking price action. Like, where's my squigglies? Like, okay, you could see all of this. All right, it will climb a freaking wall of worry. It'll climb a wall of freaking worry before it even gets up there. Okay, but your holding time goes up the higher the target is. Now, I, for one, was hoping that would happen this cycle. If this bull market gets resurrected, then sure, 23 back on the books this cycle. But if not, then hey, there's the next cycle. XRP's got to do a lot of work to invalidate the symmetrical triangle. If it does, then I'll revisit my targets. But for now, it's still intact. Okay, TikTok, I gotta go now. This was great. Thank you all for tuning in today. Once again, don't forget, oh, the coupon code was just on my screen the entire time. Okay, Black Friday coupon code on my screen, Black Mango, use it because you get the dashboard for free. You can get it on the Mango Seed program, the Sprouts program, all of the indicators, the dynamic, the lifeline, they're all gonna be here. Once again, the link to it is also in the description below. Check it out, check it out, check it out. And yeah, with your subscriptions, you also get dashboard access for free as long as the subscription keeps running. Okay, so don't fade this. Thank you all for tuning in. And also BitUnix bonus, this too is going to be in the description below. If you're not already subbed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Sub to the channel. We're trying to get to 100,000 subs before Bitcoin gets there again. Although I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. But hey, if you guys can make it happen, that would be sick. That would be an amazing Christmas present. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. And I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your day and rest of your week. I will now see you in the next daily video or live stream. With this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao, you guys.